Up.
Okay, and we're live.
And we are live on YouTube for our
Okay,
fourth video.
that's right. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. My name is Janaka of Stephen and Janaka. We, of course, have Stephen Bell on the line as well. Happy Sunday to you. And I don't know about you around the world, but here in Canada, it's a glorious long weekend. And what makes it more glorious, I don't know about you, Stephen, but it's a long weekend and we're finally starting to get a peek out of lockdown. For everyone who doesn't know, Ontario has been in lockdown since November 23rd,
Yeah.
and we've had a stay-at-home order since, what was it, December 26th? Maybe there was like
Yeah.
a week window in February where you were able to go outside, but after that, it all locked down so far. And I've even had a 6-day canoeing trip that was supposed to be from May 14th to 19th that was canceled because of our stay-at-home order extending. But yesterday, the government finally opened up things like tennis and golf and being outside. And I don't know about you, but I've been in my like lockdown mode for so long. It hasn't really changed. I didn't run out and go play tennis or golf or anything. I just kind of went for a walk like I usually do and kind
hmm
of just chilled out. What about you? What are you feeling about this weekend?
Geez, yeah. So it's beautiful weather, which you just mentioned, which is lovely.
Mhm.
I didn't know that the tennis courts opened up yesterday, so that's great to hear that we now have the courts opened. And it's three phases, I've heard. So there's like kind of a three-phase numbered system. So as long as our numbers get lower, they kind of get to the next unlocking achievement kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I
And
know that, like, yeah,
I think it's dependent also on how many percent of people are vaccinated too.
I
So,
think so. Yeah.
yeah. So the first phase happens. It's actually like a 4-phase thing that they called 3-phase. So the first phase is this, where things like tennis and golf and outdoor activities, certain outdoor activities, have been opened up.
hmm
The first phase, or the second phase, is when we reach 60% vaccination for the first round, and we're already at 58%. And so they forecast that it's going to be in June that this first phase happens.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's and then we have, and I think as we move towards the third phase will be potentially when we have like 70%, I think, and that moves towards the fall, where most Canadians are vaccinated, and then we return to whatever our new normal will be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's going to be a very interesting world as we kind of all emerge from these cocoons that we're living in of whatever this pandemic life is. It's a very unique world that we've lived in. And like Toronto's been a lockdown capital, I guess, for the longest time. Actually, some of the most stringent lockdowns in the world have been in Ontario.
Yeah, and it's kind of shocking that we've had the most stringent lockdowns and it hadn't worked so far. And I don't know whatever political alignment you're in, it really goes to question what is the best way of doing it. Because some people have locked down and it's worked, and some people have locked down and it's not worked. Some
Yeah.
people have not, and it's worked or not as well. So it's interesting to see, like,
Oh
depending on
yeah.
where you are, there's no easy answers and there's no easy way around it.
I remember Kevin Kaw, who won the DJI Osmo Action from us. He said that the lockdowns in, I think it was Malaysia, or was it the
Malaysia,
Philippines?
yeah, yeah.
Malaysia was so stringent that they're not even allowed to go beyond their like neighborhood, kind of immediate vicinity. And they have like certain curfew hours and that sort of thing. So different countries obviously are taking this in different ways, but yeah, like I guess we could still go to the grocery store, we can still travel around, but within reason. And then unfortunately, your canoe trip was put on hold as a result of that. Even though canoeing is not exactly the most socially, you know,
I know.
busy activity.
I was gonna be 50 kilometers from the nearest person, and I still
Yeah,
couldn't go. Yeah,
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 that's
yeah.
that's. I mean,
Adam,
there's a certain gray area.
that's right. So Adam Dumaguin, I hope I pronounced that relatively correct, says hi from the Philippines. Yeah, hello.
How are things in the Philippines, Adam? You can definitely type something here in the chat and let us know how things are. But yeah, it is an interesting time. We've tried to do obviously like getting out in the car around our vicinity here and kind of like exploring Toronto within a very socially responsible way. But yeah, I am looking forward to the next phase of you know being able to do whatever we could do, like things like tennis, for example, or golf. That was surprising they locked that down. Obviously, baseball or softball, I'd love to see that back, and hopefully it comes back soon, because that's a one summertime activity which I look forward to all year long.
Yeah.
So,
And for everyone who doesn't know, Stephen and I love playing tennis, and we've been good friends for how many years now, and we still haven't played.
and we still haven't played yet. I mean, we have to do that. That's got to be a new mandate coming up for
Yeah,
this phase. And I think your courts are probably open now next to your place.
they are actually. Yeah, so they put up the nets yesterday. Yeah,
Good, good, good,
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah, let's definitely have a game coming up.
That sounds great. So Adam says we're good in the Philippines somehow. Still in quarantine though. Yeah. Well, I'd like to think that life is a little easier in quarantine in the Philippines because they just have the best food. I'm about to make this mochi that is this butter mochi that's covered in coconut. And people said it was a Hawaiian butter mochi, but they say that it's actually from the Philippines. So I can't wait to make it and try it. Yeah.
Really? Can you explain for our viewers, all three of us right now, what exactly is the Mochi?
Mochi is this like kind of gelatinous, but like tougher, soft, but like chewy thing that you eat from like mixing gelatin and butter and stuff together. So it has I thought it had its roots actually in Japan,
Ooh.
because the mochis that you get there have this like gelatinous kind of cover that's like soft and chewy, right? But it's filled with ice cream, right? So this mochi is just that like soft, chewy part, right, with this coconut crust. And apparently, they were saying it was Hawaiian, but all the comments on TikTok said that it was had its roots in the Philippines, and the people in the Philippines eat it all the time. And I'm
Huh.
not surprised because Filipino food is so good.
Are you a TikTok recipe lifter? Is that something
Oh,
I'm gathering?
100%. Yeah. Like
Ah,
I love TikTok for all like the recipes and all the advice you have on eating healthy and eating clean, because truth be told, this pandemic did lift my weight by about 11, 12 pounds. So I've been looking to lose a little bit of weight recently. So I've already lost 9 pounds since I started this kind of diet. And what it is just watching my calories, exercising well every day. I started following you on Strava so we could keep an eye on each other's runs.
yeah, yeah. We're Strava
Um,
buddies now.
yeah, and also cutting out sugar and alcohol, and so making sure that we're not having that. And like no carbs or anything like that, no complex sugars or anything like that. And it's been good. Yeah, it's been good. Trying to get as much rest as I can as well, because when you're used to eating sugar, when you're used to eating all these calories, you're used to having like a certain amount of energy also throughout the day. And so that energy wanes a little bit. You can make it up with coffee, but you got to be in a calorie deficit if you're going to lose weight. There's no
Oh,
way around it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, it's definitely, we've all had like adverse eating habits during this quarantine and, COVID times. And it's important that we now, moving into warmer weather, especially here in Canada, that we take advantage of not only activity, but eating well. And I really applaud you in doing the non-sugars, non-alcoholic diet. It's so hard because it's in everything, not alcohol, but sugar.
It's in
And
everything.
it really is tough to escape it, and it's a mindset. But once you get in it, it's kind of like a ball; it just keeps on rolling. So
Yeah,
yeah.
and what I found is you don't crave it as much either. Like we got in a habit where we were ordering a DQ ice cream cake all the time just to have
Oh,
for a slice for like dessert
oh, they're
every
so
day.
good though. They're
They're
so
so
good.
good. They're so good. But that's the thing, right? Like when you get in that habit and when you get that cycle, when you get your body just craving it again because of the dopamine hits, that's when you just gotta cut it off cold turkey. And then afterwards, we did this last year as well, and it was really good. It was actually around this time as well. I think it's the best time because we both have birthdays in April as well. And, kind of want to partake in the birthdays too. But in this way, yeah, May seems like a good time to get ready for the summer, to lose a little bit of weight, and just to like kind of detox and cleanse, which is great. But May has been up and down, up and down everywhere, because, on one hand, like, I'm taking serious care of my health with this diet. On the other hand, I have allergies coming out the wazoo. But also, for all of our friends that are trading crypto, it's just a bloodbath out there.
That's a good segue. That's a good segue.
Do you like that?
From health to mental health to financial advice. Yeah, it's crazy. Oh my God. Like looking at the past week, first off, starting with a tweet by our wonderful Elon Musk, who I will not say wonderful, but like it's been one person's tweet leads to a ban reiterated by China's government, even though that happened before in the past, but they've just been more further with regulation, moving to a market panic, moving to a sell, moving to a dead cat bounce, moving to another sell today. Like it's really intense. And I downsized most of my, because I was way over leveraged in Ethereum about 2 weeks ago. I was riding a wave of happy profit. I sold right when the tweet kind of came out, because I just got a little bit nervous. I sold and took some profit from that, obviously. And then
Nice.
I reinvested very gently into like, a very small amount of Ethereum, very small amount of Bitcoin, just to hold it, because you're not supposed to hold more than about, I think the proper amount is about 20 to 10% in cryptocurrency for your portfolio holdings. So anybody who's looking to kind of like know what a proper responsible way, I mean, obviously profits can be had, but
Yeah, this isn't financial advice by any
no,
means either.
not by any means. No, no,
Do
don't,
your
please don't
do
do
your
your
own
diligence.
research.
Yeah.
I heard somewhere that it should be like 5%.
5%. I think 5% is also probably a bit better. But I mean, 10%, how it worked with me and 10%, I guess you could say, is that I bought a bunch of ADA or Cardano back, I think it was towards the February months or March months. And so I just kind of accumulated over time. And it's not so much about the hype and the phase of crypto in that case, but what it was being applied to. So for example, the team at Cardano was making strides in Africa of being able to take into Ethiopia Cardano's blockchain technology, of it, enabling it to run on the school and education systems for grade tracking, for education, for marks, for lesson packets, all that sort of thing online. So they're taking 4 to 5 million people for all of their educational, analytics, and putting it on a blockchain technology. So it's kind of a first of its kind. And that was very exciting to hear, because, blockchain is the future. It is. That's just, everyone knows that. So by having that in Africa as a whole country taking part, where the government approved it, I was like, you know what? I'll invest a little bit and see what happens. And then after I had that, I staked it. So you can stake your Cardano or your Ethereum or all those cryptocurrencies on staking pools. So I moved it from Coinbase. I staked it over to whatever I think it's like Yoroi is where I've staked it to. And it's just locked away now. But in terms of staking, you get, I think, like one Cardano every 7 days or something. However, that being said, if Cardano ever actually does well in the future, your Cardano sits there in kind of like a cold, locked vault, so to say, until you withdraw it back to your coin exchange and then whatever into fiat currency. But that's, I guess, my largest holdings, and I won't touch. I leave that there for like 2 or 3 years. That is something that I've invested in. I've taken the risk. Obviously, I know what's going to happen with that, but I'm pretty confident it'll do well. But yeah, and then come back to that in 2 or 3 years and see what happens.
Guys, what's the difference between gambling and investing? It's just time, right?
It's time. Yeah.
If you're the shorter the time frame gets that you're investing in anything, it just becomes gambling, right? But if you're holding crypto for a long time, that's when you see the rewards. I don't know. I don't think we mentioned this, but I actually just bought a house. I'm a first-time home owner, so I'm really excited about that. Yeah, and so with that, I was able to pay a quarter of my deposit down because of crypto, because I had invested in Ethereum back in 2016, and I just held. I just held until now.
Yeah.
Mind you, I'm very lucky, because it seemed like we got out of the game at the exact right time, because we bought a house on the 30th of April. I needed that money at that time, so I sold at that point. Right?
Didn't I warn you? I think there was a little bird that like tweeted you and said, Janaka, get out now.
But the thing is like, for 2 weeks, then I was really feeling the FOMO, because Ethereum went from like 2,400 to like 3,800, right?
Yeah.
I was like, what have I done? I'm missing out on the bull market. And then this bloodbath happens, and it's what it is. But The property I got was a rental property, and I'll tell you exactly why this is relevant to what we were just talking about. It was a rental property, has a basement suite, and has a top suite. So what can happen is I move into the top suite, rent out the basement, and then when I move out, I can rent out both spots, and it's making me money. But not only that, it's appreciating with time too as the housing market goes up, right? Now more and more housing is actually going to be out of reach for a lot of people, because I bought in Hamilton, Ontario, and a news article just came out saying how Toronto, Vancouver, and Hamilton are now more expensive than places like New York and Los Angeles for the
I know.
median salary to what the houses cost, right? But
Yep.
what do you do if you can't afford a house anymore, right? Well, this is exactly what you do. This is how you can invest like this and have passive income, is staking. What Stephen is doing right now is he's staking his Cardano, right? So imagine if he spent, let's say, $1,000, right? What do you have to do to get a house? You need $100,000. I mean, I'm using round numbers and I'm making it small, right? So if you don't have $100,000, what are you going to do? You can't buy a house. But if you have $1,000, you can't buy, say, 100th of a house, right? But what you can do is you can buy Cardano, or you could buy Bitcoin, you could buy another cryptocurrency, and then you can stake it. And so in that way, just like I'll be accumulating rent and my property appreciating, you'll be accumulating like payment in the way of cash or extra coins, and those coins will be appreciating. So this is the next generation of passive income for our generation. What do you think
It's a
about that, Stephen?
it's a fascinating thing, and actually, I heard about staking from actually Eric. Eric and I were talking about that. He staked his Cardano. He then showed me the ideas of like, Yoroi or the other wallets. They're kind of like a Google extension that you put onto your browser. You just basically, then you link your Coinbase or whatever you have your coins through. I think it's Daedalus is another one too. And you can then transfer your coins via transferring the address to your staking wallet, and then takes, depending upon your coin, I guess the coin original wallet, a certain amount of time before it's approved, comes on over, and of course then it's staked. So in mine, it's every 6 days it gains 0.8 of a Cardano. So if you think about Cardano and compare it to like Ethereum, Ethereum right now has whatever the price is, around $2,000 American. It's got a market cap of close to $1 trillion, or at least I think around 800 billion or something. So in terms of the ability of being able to see where that might go to, Cardano is the same blockchain technology. However, it's proof of stake. And proof of stake or proof of work, these are the two different things about cryptocurrencies. And I'm no expert, but proof of stake is the most environmentally friendly version of cryptos. So when you have proof of stake, you're not, burning additional electricity, because computers on a network are being able to work in tandem. So with the staking purpose of things, it's a green technology. It reduces all the electrical need for the currency by a percentage point of 100 to 200%. And then it just exponentially grows. So if you think about Cardano now in 2021, in theory, who knows, it could maybe get to an Ethereum level in 2023, 2024, when they have smart contracts and DeFi contracts coming onto their network, which seems like they will. I mean, that could be very exciting. So you think about those coins you put away, and then you come back to a potential price point, even if it gets to half of what Ethereum is right now, even if it gets to $1,000, that's just, it's a safe, invested idea of cryptocurrency that you're not worrying about the market fluctuations, because it's locked in a certain amount and it's staked. It's definitely worth looking into if you're involved in it.
So let me ask you, Stephen, is
Mhm.
Bitcoin dead?
Oh, that's a tricky
Be-
question, and
because
we're not financial advisors, so.
yeah, we're not financial advisors by any means, and we're not crypto gurus, and we're just musing. But we do love crypto, and like people on the channel know that I've been following Bitcoin since 2013 and wanting to. I truly believe that I would be a millionaire if I was just born a few years earlier, because at that time I was just getting out of my master's. I was telling people to invest in
You
it.
told me
I
about this
even
years ago. Yeah.
I was trying to convince my best friend also to Mike Rusnak to
Yeah.
invest in Ethereum when it was $200, and I got in when it was $400. When I on its run to the bull run there, I I do like Cardano a lot, but you and I were talking like, what if, like, if only we could have gotten Bitcoin sooner, right? When it was like lower price. Now it's a lower price. So, what's stopping us from going into Bitcoin?
So what I've done now is I've taken I went all Ethereum at one time. So now I've kind of gone to a very small percentage point in Bitcoin and a very small percentage point in Ethereum. I think it's like 60-40 or whatever else. Bitcoin's not dead. I don't think it's dead at all. I think right now we have, as the old saying goes in the stock market, sell in May and go away. And I think in that case, many people are now profit taking after that massive run up. And of course, now you have a lot of people saying, oh, it's over, it's done, there's a big Ponzi scheme. And yes, crypto is a very nefarious area. It's a very strange new way of doing things. That being said, it's not going to go to zero. If anything, institutions will see this idea of people selling and they'll start to gently get back into it, I think, slowly now, not to overheat the market again, because we all know the market is way overheated right now. If there's a massive crash, sell off, and then it just spiked back up in a V, this would then further accelerate this now, downwards trend that we're heading in. My guess is that, especially for Ethereum and Bitcoin, I can see it jumping back up in July. Because Ethereum is going to go to proof of stake, and that is a big deal for that network because it's going to burn coins. So when it burns coins, that means the coins are going to go less in terms of numbers and higher in terms of value. Less of a commodity, higher the demand, price goes up. So it will go up for sure. What it'll go up to, who knows? But as far as Bitcoin goes, I mean, unfortunately it's a bit of a dirty technology for environmental output because of the fact that it's a very energy, heavy usage coin. I don't know. I think it's not going to go away. I think that it's gonna be hard to think of going to your Starbucks and using Bitcoin to make a purchase, but maybe
But it was
that kind
always
of
like that, wasn't
currency.
it? It
I
was
think so
always,
too. And
yeah.
if you look online too, if you look at some of the governments, China's introducing digital currency, which is very interesting in many cases, where they have like this virtual looking bill. Like I saw this on an app screenshot recently on, I think it was CNN or something, that showed like a 100 won bill that was like a holographic image, and then it had like the numbers below it, kind of like how Wealthsimple shows a crypto wallet, and it's their digital currency as we move away from cash. Because I think that's the biggest thing to take out of the pandemic too, is that we are moving our financial system quickly away from the physical monetary commodity to a virtual currency. So I can see governments across the world studying this and then potentially implementing it themselves in whatever digital currency they're going to make.
And we're going to get to photography and videography in a
We
second as
will.
well. Yeah. We just find this so fascinating and so interesting.
Yeah,
But the last question I'll ask you is, what's the point of that digital currency in China? Because it's all digital now. Like, it's not
I
like
know.
when like people say that we're going to have a stimulus bill and we're going to print money. They're not literally printing money.
No.
They're just changing numbers on a digital ledger, right? And
Yeah.
so it's all digital now anyway. So what is the point of China coming out and saying that they've made a digital currency, because it already is digital?
I think it probably goes towards the blockchain idea, so that maybe
Maybe.
China studies this idea of what Cardano, Ethereum, all the blockchains are doing, and potentially using it themselves. Because obviously blockchain allows, if Janaka spends too much money on a Sony camera, I can see that on a blockchain. If I'm on the ledger, I can see Janika's made that purchase on a Sony camera, which he should have bought a Lumix, because let's be honest. However, the idea of the purchase is shown as a numeric value that I can track. Now it's kind of creepy because obviously everything is tracked that way. That being said, is like there's no way of like showcasing currency in a way that's not readily available to be seen, so everyone can see everything happening. And I think that's one big pro or con, depending upon how you look at it, of blockchains. And I think that's why governments might want to potentially use that. But we are not, I can not repeat enough, a financial advisor channel, and there's lots of them out there. Which is the interesting thing of cryptos, is that when you go down this rabbit hole, you get addicted to watching these people, like oh my gosh, BitBoy crypto, and like I think FOMO crypto. I mean, interesting information. They got lots of information on it, and they their viewership is crazy. I mean, millions of people are following these channels daily, and their live streams, it's a bad day if they only get 30,000 people chiming in rather than 50 or 100. But I mean, you can see the interest is there. It's just there's trepidation amongst people still to go further in, and I think it's a good idea. One other shout out too, I don't know if you've seen it, Janaka, or not. There's a channel called, I think it's Cash College, And Cash College is a guy here in Toronto who I found, I think, through Matty Hapoya, made a video about him and ideas of investing.
Okay.
He's got some phenomenal advice on all kinds of things to do with investing and financial advice and kind of his journey and how he does finances. And it's also, I don't think it's dedicated financial advice. It's just ideas that he has learned working at Wealthsimple and the investment firms. And it's very clear, very concise, and very detailed. He talks about, I think recently one of his episodes, why he's not selling any of his crypto regardless of what happens. He's just gonna, buy it, put it in his wallet, and walk away. And I think that's the smartest idea right now, because it's so easy to look at your phone and be like, and see every 3 seconds this number, go down or go up, and the euphoria, and then also the trepidation of what you should do with your investments. You buy it, you have the ability that you think it's worth the investment, so you're committed to it. And as long as it's something that you can either lose or gain, it's not going to bankrupt you, then you just you stand by your investment, you walk away and have a plan, so when you're going to potentially sell, if it 2 times, 3 times, or or if it goes to 1 times, or goes at a market rate. So definitely have an endpoint and an entry point, and stay by it, and be committed to your investment.
Yeah, guys, if I was going to give advice, which I'm not because I'm not a financial advisor, but if I was, I would say, like, what I do is I just put in whatever money I'm willing to lose, like even zero. Like, I did take everything out, and I hadn't invested in Stellar Lumens at all, right? XLM, but I did jump back in with $400, right? But it's in there. If it goes to zero, I don't care. If it goes to 200,000, like, fantastic, right? But pick those projects that you believe in.
Yeah.
Money in there, walk away and don't think about it again, and look at it occasionally. If you find yourself looking at it time and time again and obsessed with how much is dropping and gaining and dropping and gaining, you've put in too much. That's the barometer on how much you should put in. If you
100%.
are emotionally tied to it, you have put in too much, and now you need to really think about, should you be speculating with that much money, right? Because that's what this is. This is purely speculation. This is a brand new experiment in our society. So it's really interesting to see how this all plays out. I'm even in 2013, I was certain that Bitcoin is the future, like blockchain was the future, the underlying technology. And one last question, right? Who is your dark horse? Who is your dark horse crypto that you believe in, that you may or may not have invested in yet, but is maybe flying under the radar? And then I'll give my choice.
I mean, I have to stand by Cardano, I think, still.
You think
just
that's
because
a dark horse still? People love it, though.
I know it's a pretty mainstream one. It's number 4 or 5 on Coinbase.
Yeah.
I think the other one that I have not really heavily invested in, I've only got a couple of them, is Chainlink. I think Chainlink, to me, probably is another is proof of stake again. It's a blockchain technology. Moves kind of in motion with Ethereum, but I have like 3 or 4 Chainlinks. So
is that XRP?
Chainlink, I have to take a look. I think it is XRP, I think. So it's something that I'm not heavily invested in it, but I like the idea of it. And as Janaka said, you invest a small amount in it. If you're prepared to lose it, that's the way it is. So how about you? What's your dark horse?
So I love Cardano as well, and Polkadot and Aave. I've spoken lots about Aave in the past as well.
Aave's not cheap though. Aave's expensive.
Yeah, but like, again, like, is it expensive or is it not? Like, remember, like, what if you could get into Bitcoin at $600, right? Remember when we were saying that, right? And then it's like, well, when Bitcoin was $600, it would have seemed expensive, right? Because I had the chance of getting into Bitcoin at $400 in 2013, and I was like, what if it goes to zero, right? So that's exactly it. Get it for the long run. But my dark horse is IOTA. I've liked IOTA since 2014.
Okay.
And no one's talking about it. It's completely going under the radar. This actually has solved blockchain and proof of stake issues by having their Hive net. And if you've ever heard of the comment Internet of Things, that's IOTA. That's where IOTA comes from. Yeah,
And did you
and
buy it through Coinbase, or what's your
I haven't bought it yet, but I'm gonna buy it when all of this like bloodbath is going, when it drops down, because and now, so I believed it in 2015, and if you don't know, I also work in the manufacturing industry right now, and IOTA and Internet of Things is huge transformation in the manufacturing world right now. Like everything that's going to be made and designed when it comes to Teslas, to cars, to any products you have. Will go through this transformation with Internet of Things, digital twin, and IOTA. And yeah, so it's my dark horse for the next 10 years for sure.
Crazy, crazy.
Yeah.
Well, as we segue into other things that are non-crypto related, I think we got some cool things coming up too. For our viewers, we've had some cool videos and drones that we've done. Janaka shot an amazing video recently with his new Air 2S, which is a wild version of showcasing the saturation and like just the whole color grade from a flat color profile to a more like, the boys look that you love to get. And that's really cool, showing that kind of like that gradient time lapse effect that you put into that. We had a comparison between the now we can call it the OG, the Mavic 2 Pro and the Air 2S. And I think it's amazing seeing this 5K video compared to the Hasselblad 4K. It's just so crispy good on your Air 2S.
It's so
I
good.
definitely
It's
have
so
drone
clean.
envy. Yeah, it's a really, really cool video. So those
And
two things, and we have an ND filter set coming out through Freewell. So Freewell saw our last two videos, and that's a really cool manufacturer to take interest in our products, or our videos, pardon me. And they're sending us some ND filters that they just released for the Air 2S. So I can't wait to see Janaka's thoughts and comparing them to what he got in his kit.
yeah, and so I'm excited about that. But while you're kind of talking and all of this,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to make sure that we get our names in here.
Yeah.
So
Oh, yeah, for sure.
so we can have this giveaway. But yeah, I absolutely love the Air 2S. I think it's fantastic. Is there a way on this Pixar app to just erase everything from the last?
You can force delete it, and you could just try it that way.
But I'm going through every name and deleting it.
The
Oh,
magic of Pixter.
uh, let's see. New call names. That's the button we're
Right,
going
that
to.
new goal names. There you go. Yep.
New call names. There we go. Okay, perfect. Okay, so we're adding
We got
Niaz Rahman.
we
We're
got
adding
Niaz, David
at
Greco, David
David
Greco.
Greco
Yep.
and Adam
And Adam
Dimagwin.
Demoquin
Yeah.
are so if anybody else coming on, well, I know it's a long weekend. It's a bit of a bad day to do this on because everyone's out enjoying the beach and the weather.
Hmm.
But definitely we got this lovely little Iron B wireless extension control rod. And normally we put our videos up before we do the giveaways, but it's been such a busy weekend and a busy week that I've actually rendered the video. I have it ready to go. It'll just take, about 4 hours to put up the video. So I'm gonna put up tomorrow that showcases essentially 4 gimbals that we were given of not, I can't call them no-name brands, but they're not mainstream brands. They're kind of like third-party brands in camera technology. There's INKEE, there's Falcon, which is also INKEE as well. There's Hohem, and we have these gimbals that were given to us that are either control rods, an action cam gimbal, and a phone gimbal as well. So we did a really quick comparison and talked about, right out of the box, what do they do? Are they worth it? And the price, and should you get it? So stay tuned for that video. The video is going to come out tomorrow. And it's just an idea of like your hard-earned money, which maybe you made from crypto. How do you invest it in gear? Do you invest it in gear in a way that is, through a DJI product, more of like the Apple brand name, so to say, of products? Or do you go with something that's cheaper? And does it do the job that you need? So this little guy we're going to give away today, and then 3 others that we have we're going to give away sometime this week potentially as another giveaway live stream. And these are products that you can use, and we weren't paid to talk about them. We weren't paid
Oh,
to,
excuse me.
bless you. We weren't paid to do any sort of like review of these. These are our honest opinions on these products, and are they right for you? So, Janaka, who is going to take home the Iron B wireless control extension rod?
Okay, so we have Niaz, David Greco, Zachary Rue, who comes in
Oh,
under the
Zach Ryu.
wire. Yeah, he just
Oh,
comes in under
yeah.
the wire to get into the contest, and Adam Dumagwin from the Philippines. And so, let's So one thing about this Iron B is it's an extension rod for your mirrorless or DSLR camera. So it's really interesting that way, that, you know, if you want to take like high quality selfies or do some like vlogging or something, like this is your tool here. So okay, yeah, I think we're done, and we're just gonna pick it right now. Okay.
All right, so drum roll.
Drum roll. Zachary Rue.
Zachary, hey,
Hey.
fantastic.
Yeah, you win. You win the Iron Bee. Congratulations. And just
That's awesome. Congrats,
yeah.
Zach.
Yeah. So congrats, man. I feel bad for everyone else that was here before, and Zach just like chimes in at the end and gets
That's a
it.
live stream. That's what it is. Unfortunately, that's the way it is. But
Yeah.
definitely, it's a cool little extension control arm, and something that, you know, as Janaka said in the video, it's definitely a baller tool. And you know, if you can utilize this for your Sony camera, it works really well. Actually, it does work specifically with, I think, the cameras of Sony and Canon, does it not?
Yeah, and you know, Zach, I believe you got an A7C, and so yeah, it'll work great with that.
Yeah.
He says, "Thanks, guys. No problem, Zach. Thanks for being part of the channel and subscribing and tuning in. Yeah, yeah. Congratulations. That's all I really have to say about that. But you know what, guys, don't worry if you didn't get it as well. Oh, he said he was here the whole time. He just didn't message
get a message earlier.
Yeah, right, Zach. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, guys, don't worry. We have 3 other ones to give away. Stephen, why don't you show what the review tomorrow is going to be showing and what we'll be giving away next week?
Here are the other 3 as I reach down to this little Price is Right showcase. We've got the Iron Bee remote shooting grip. So this is another style grip. It's not extendable, but it does have the ability of being able to kind of give you a control arm for your Sony or your Canon.
I was surprised how much I like that. That was fun. That was fun to use.
We have my favorite that's really cool. This is the Falcon 3-axis gimbal. Now this is kind of cool. So this is basically for GoPros, Osmo Actions, and I think Insta360s. This is an action camera gimbal. It's really good. I was really impressed. And this is one we're also giving away. So this is a cool little gimbal. And we also have the Hohem iSteady V2. And this is like a Osmo. So like, I think of a DJI Osmo for your phone gimbal. Also a really cool gimbal to be able to utilize your phone as a vlogging device, because I mean, let's be honest, phones are getting so good, you can vlog on your phone now. And this is something also that we'll be giving away too. So all of these things here are all being given away to you. Anything that comes into us, we give away. So, you know, with exceptions. But it's definitely a big giveaway that we're going to do. So I think stay tuned for that. We're doing that on what day, Janaka? I think it's going to be Wednesday.
Wednesday, either Wednesday or next weekend. You know,
next week, yeah.
We'll post it. Wednesday might be okay, but you know, people also have lives and jobs as well. That maybe next weekend might be the best for people to tune in. But you know, we'll play it by ear. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, congratulations, Zach. Now, when it comes to the photography and videography world, you know, I've been a little sheltered. You know, since I got the DJI Air 2S. You know how you like feel satisfied with something, then you don't start looking, and then after a couple of months, you're like, okay, what else is out there? What else is new? What else is coming out? Because I just bought the Air 2S, I haven't been really scoping out the landscape. So tell me, what are you excited about that's coming out for in the camera world?
There's a big release for the Micro Four Thirds users, which I'm not a part of anymore, unfortunately. I've now gone full frame with my S5, which I absolutely adore that camera. But in the Micro Four Thirds, they finally released information about the new GH Micro Four Thirds camera for Lumix. So that's a big deal for Micro Four Thirds users, because they're staying on this mount, and they are supposedly releasing, I guess, the GH6 or the GH9 or whatever it's going to be called, or GH5S2 or something. And so this is the new camera coming out May 25th. So stay tuned for May 25th. That'll be on Tuesday. I think it's like 11:30 or so Eastern Standard Time. They're doing the announcement. So check out Lumix's website or their social media for more information. But that's a big deal. That's brand new GH camera that will, I'm guessing, have 4K or 6K. Maybe we'll have a new autofocus, because God knows Lumix has the worst autofocus known to man. And perhaps that will address that. Hopefully there'll be some obviously enhancements when it comes to dynamic range, shooting styles, all that kind of stuff. Maybe battery, maybe it'll have CFast cards, maybe it'll have SD cards. Who knows? So brand new cameras coming out. My guess is they're probably gonna be about 3 different cameras in the lineup, maybe like a GH6, GH6S, and a GH6 Pro. I mean, I've heard rumors about that too. And that would make a lot of sense for the Micro Four Thirds markets, because I don't have any Micro Four Thirds lenses now, as I've sold them, but I do have 3 anamorphic lenses that are Micro Four Thirds mounts. These are my Z Cam. The reason why I kept those is they're quite light. And Micro Four Thirds cameras are fantastic for their weight. So very excited for the Micro Four Thirds community that Lumix still stands by that market, because there's so many lens options and accessories that you can get for those cameras, because they've been around for so long. And GH5 is in many cases still an industry standard for wedding videographers and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and the GH5 was really one of the marquee ones that people got and started their videography career. And so it'll be interesting to see the GH6 come out and how it shakes up the environment, because right now it seems like Sony is taking some of the spotlight. When it came to like videography and stuff, I would say Lumix was a little bit ahead, and Sony was there to kind of keep up on a videography standpoint, but people really loved the photography capability of Sony, even though Lumix comes up with some great photography too. I don't know why they get so much hate with the photography aspect. The autofocus, I think, is warranted. Like, how long have we been asking Lumix to fix the autofocus? Right, like, but when it comes to photography, it's actually their cameras are quite good photography cameras too.
I think the biggest drawback to, in many cases, like the Lumix series, especially in the L mount that I'm now a part of that alliance, I guess you could say, is the price of the lenses, because that is where Lumix does unfortunately have the drawback compared to Sony and Canon, because they're so expensive. And all the L mount lenses, the more they make, obviously, the lower the price will get. So, for example, if you think of like, Sigma, for example, which is a third-party lens distributor and also camera maker now too, they have some phenomenal lenses, and I've always stood by Sigma for all of my like Micro Four Thirds cameras, and I'll probably get a Micro Four or an L mount lens in Sigma as well. But they have a bit of a lower price point. But the G Master series and the Lumix L mount series are so expensive, and they're not necessarily better than a Sigma lens. So that's one thing now is hopefully they'll catch up with that and lower the price. But Sony is, I mean, in many cases they're also industry standard what the A7S III can do. I mean, that's a phenomenal camera. And it's just, I guess you don't have the tilt screen that you do on the Lumix. Maybe the A7S III, they have that now too. Yeah.
The A7S III has the reticulated screen. Yeah.
Yeah. So now you're almost at par. Yeah.
I would say it's further. I would say it can get 16 stops of dynamic range too.
That is a big bonus. Yeah. And 422 recording and all this, it's something that the Lumix does have as well. But I mean, Sony's color science and also the autofocus, let's be honest and go back to that again. I think it's phase detection. It's phase detection on the Sony and the Canon. And that's just, you have to have that. Contrast auto detection they have in the Lumix is not good enough. So, that's a huge benefit to getting a Sony.
So I think that Lumix has a tall order in front of them with the GH5 or GH6 that's going to come out.
Whatever that will be, yeah.
Yeah. And on the Sony front, what the next camera to come out is the A7 IV. So I have the A7 III. I absolutely love it. So it'll be really interesting to see what the A7 IV comes out with. At the minimum, I think they should come out with 4K 60 and maybe 10-bit as well, because now the A7S III can do that as well.
Well, Lumix could do that a long time ago. So
it's true. Yeah, it is true. And to be honest, I think it's the. I wonder if it's like overheating issues that were happening in the Sony, because if you have a Micro Four Thirds frame but on a big camera, right? There's just more space. There's more air. There's more like fans and stuff you could toss in as well, right? When you have a full frame, I don't know how the S5 might do it, but for the Sony cameras, it was probably just overheating too much. I would
I think
imagine.
it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Overheating is a big factor. So obviously with the R5 had a problem with Canon, is that the overheating issues and the higher frame rates of shooting that were experienced because of the fact that just, the proximity of the fans, the sensor, and outdoors in different climates. If you're shooting in a warmer summer day like today in Toronto, you're going to probably have an issue. Now that's not like you don't pop it out of the box and then it happens 3 minutes later. That's usually it happens after 20 minutes of continuous shooting. And I think people don't realize is that in many cases you don't shoot for longer, especially if you're doing a product commercial or even a vlog. You take takes. You don't go continuous unless maybe you're a wedding videographer and you have to roll camera for the entire time. So that's where I guess the biggest problem arises, is that long format recording process or a concert or something. So that's that is the only drawback.
Yeah, the three places I found that run into trouble with overheating, at least I did with my A6300, hasn't been an issue actually with the A7 III, even though people have said it's an issue,
Yeah,
is the three situations is weddings, concerts, like you said, and interviews. With an
interviews too.
interview,
Yeah, okay.
yeah, you need to have it continuously running as well.
Yeah. I when I shoot on a Zcam, mostly for my like work interviews now, like the Zcam, kind of like a red camera, is really, it works very well for long format recordings. It's made for that, and proximity of fans is located in a good location. But I think for a Sony A7S III or A7 IV or whatever it's going to be, if they address the fan issue, hopefully that will solve that for those shooters.
Yep, yeah, and yeah, I don't didn't tell anyone else this. I only told Steven. In the height of like the crypto market just jumping and knowing how much Steven had in there, I had a dream that crypto just blew up and he bought a um, red camera with it, which is
Oh,
funny,
nice.
right? Yeah, your investments can end up doing it. And I was invested in a GameStop back in January, and I saw it blow up, and all of a sudden, I had enough cash to buy an A7S III, and
Hmm.
then within an hour, it just crashed as well. Yeah, and it was just great. What a crazy ride that was! But the problem is you never know when to sell, because
Yeah.
like, and that's why it's gambling. That's why it's not investing. That's why you have to do it for the long term, because and then you just hope you get lucky, hope you pull out at the right time, because that's exactly what I had to do with for my deposit, and I'm happy I got it out then. But to be honest, I was feeling the FOMO for the last 2-3 weeks hard.
Yeah, and don't forget too that kind of, when you buy something in, think of your investment, say you take your profits, you measure it in a camera or you measure it in I don't know, a drone or something. I mean, gear in many cases now, especially in today's world, has actually maintained value very well. So for example, like the gear that I have, I don't usually give away the gear in our channel. Like the gear I purchased myself, I'll sell and then reinvest it back into more gear in the future. So for example, my Ronin SC2 is currently sitting on eBay right now, as well as I think a lens I have I no longer use. And I'm really surprised at the Ronin SC2 bids right now for a used gimbal. It's I think like $100 or $50 less than I paid for it, and it's not even over yet. I think the bid ends at around about 130. So it goes to show that there is a certain amount of value you can now still maintain in your camera gear, especially cameras that are needed, like for example an A7 III or a GH5 or a Ronin SC2 gimbal. Even lenses. Like you're not going to buy something and all of a sudden it's going to tank in value as long as you take care of it. So it's another, especially in drones too. Like, I mean, I know you're going to sell your OG, right? So the
Hmm.
old Mavic Pro, I don't think you're going to see a massive decrease in value. There's still a demand because manufacturers during the pandemic have been stretched for their product lines.
And you know what? I was really lucky with that because I got it on a Boxing Day sale thanks to you.
Yeah,
And I was working at Nordstrom as a manager at that time, and they were selling them. And so managers get 33% off on top of everything as well. So I paid $800 Canadian for it, and I'm pretty sure I could get the same amount for it now.
I think so too. I think you're going to recoup your value. Even with the old Mavic Pro that I sold myself, I remember it sold to somebody up in the Yukon, I think, or in Yellowknife, which is very cool to see that the drone goes to a location that's very remote and can be used maybe by a geological surveyor or some company up in the north. So I'm glad I found a home up there. But it sold for, I think, $200 less than I paid for it, or like $300 less, which is really impressive for as long as you take care of your gear. I mean, that's the biggest thing, is that invest your time, get a good case. Obviously there's costs sunk into that, but if you take care of something, you don't crash it, and you take, I think a good approach to battery charging, and you don't, expend the battery and charge it at 80% instead of 10%, you will find the value maintains.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's because, like, like we probably are like demanding with our gear, but we take really good care of it.
Yeah.
But for the amateur shooter, right? They'll probably get like an A7 III or now an A7 IV that's coming out or something. And if they're just using it as a hobby, right?
Hmm.
They probably only take it out a few times a month. When you get like a G Master lens for an amateur photographer, you know, it doesn't have the same kind of wear and tear as a professional user would do. So
Yeah.
I I would just buy it. It's tough to say, right? Because if you're buying it used, you do get a little bit of a deal.
You
But then
do.
if it's not that much of a deal, why not just buy it new and have that guarantee and the warranty involved as well?
Well, I think also the big thing too is that one video you made recently, the A6300, which was such a, it's important that people can see that there's still value in your A6300. It's a camera that was launched back in what, 2017, 2016? Like, it's an older camera. However, it's still a phenomenal camera, and it's
It
still a
is.
good value. And that is something that, like, there's so many YouTubers out there, like a Nigel Barris, that I think is one of a really unique brand of content creators that showcases what you can do with kind of a GH3 or a GH4, which is a camera that's worth like $200. But if you have good lighting and good sound, and good editing skills, you can make that shine. Like, you don't have to buy an A7 IV or whatever it's going to be. These cameras can be utilized at cheaper values, and if they're kept well and you've maintained the value well, it's then you're getting good investment. So, especially a GH5, they're great cameras, and they've actually maintained value really well, which is surprising. you know
If I could offer any advice about procuring gear, it's invest in lighting. That's actually
yes.
what's going to make the biggest difference. Invest in lighting and
Hmm.
invest in lenses, because
Yes.
the bodies will always go, but the lenses I find hold their value better.
They really do. Yeah,
Yeah.
lenses are like, they are an investment. They are thinking of the crypto profits that you've made. Like, that's something I definitely invested, in the past for profits I've made, is like a good cinema lens, or a good Sigma lens, for example, because they will always hold value as long as they're in good shape. A trade-in online, going to a camera shop, you're not going to be taken for a ride on a lens if you're trading it in for a camera. When I
Mhm.
traded into my S5, I remember I traded in my G9, pardon me, the 16 mm lens. What else did I trade in? I traded something else as well. And my 16 mm Sigma, which is a prime, they gave me like almost $500 for that lens, which is, you buy it new for $650. But since it was in such great condition, had the box, had the bag, everything else, they could resell it. Lenses do hold value. They do hold their interest.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Stephen, time flies when you're having fun, and we're running out of time here. We
Yeah, we've
gotta,
been here for a while. Yeah.
yeah, we gotta sign off soon. But any parting words that you have for people? Anything that you're seeing in the world today, anything photography related or crypto related, things that people might be interested in.
I think the biggest thing is just keep creating content. Obviously, with the way that we are still kind of living in a pandemic life, I think it's important that you utilize this time to create content. Find your medium that works for you. If it's YouTube, if it's Instagram, if it's Vimeo, whatever, TikTok. Make content, practice your shooting skills. Connect with different videographers. And like an investment, a Cardano or Ethereum, find a channel that you like on YouTube and invest in that channel. Like, really, invest in us. This is the pitch for Janaka and Stephen. But, like, find your, if it's that Icelandic guy, or Nigel Barris, Peter McKinnon, Matty Havoya, all these people, like, they have so much information, and you can learn so much, not in just their most recent videos, but go back and watch their ideas on color grading, and ideas of how you can maximize gear and maximize your work style, or like storyboarding, or all this kind of stuff, and constantly level up your game. because that's something that I've been doing a lot of during the pandemic. And it's, we've done all kinds of stuff, and I have a short film currently in festival submissions right now. And I think it's all based upon constantly learning. So, that's something I'd always suggest. It's such a rewarding journey to continue leveling up your skills.
Yeah, 100%. And it's interesting to know the journey we came on, because this channel hasn't built by itself. It took a lot of
No.
hard work and sweat and tears and all of that stuff. But it gives me pride because, like, we just got a new subscriber because I plugged it to a new employee that I was working with as well, and they said, "Oh, who edits your videos?" And I was like, "We do. Like, we do it ourselves, right?" And it's like, people find it hard to imagine that you could just learn these things, but
Oh
all the
yeah.
information's out there. We live in the golden age of being able to learn things, and I find TikTok is kind of baity in a way because they'll
Yeah.
talk about problems, they'll talk about emotionally inducing things. Like, there was one, I didn't want to sit on the sidelines anymore. I started some drama on TikTok because someone was like, for the first time in history, the millennials and Gen Z are the poorest people in the blah blah blah, and like, now we can't afford a house, and now, like, the baby boomers have ruined it for us, and they, like, et cetera, right? And I just put, like, how about we start talking about solutions instead of the
Yeah.
problem, instead of emotionally inciting people's emotions with just talking about the problems, right? So I started a little bit of drama there, but the whole point is like, there's some clickbaity stuff out there, but there's
Yeah.
actually some really good content out there where you can learn some good stuff as well. And
Yeah.
so, I hope you get value out of these places. If not learning stuff, then free gear. So that's always
Oh yeah.
help. But I think
We got, yeah.
yeah, I think we've given away like thousands of dollars worth of gear so far, and we're happy to do it. And there's more giveaways to come, and it seems like this machine is just rolling on. So, thank you so much for joining, and yeah, we'll sign off, but we'll talk again real soon.
Sounds good, guys.
Okay, take care, everyone. Have a great long weekend. Have a great weekend wherever you are in the world, and